Once you get your Class A license, you get your CDL in hand, once you're there, you have a job, right? You have a job. Congratulations. Clap your hands. Feel good. You're employed. Be the better trucker. Make the trucking world better for everybody else, okay? Don't be like all the rest of these nasty truckers. So you're going to slam right into it. And you can see videos on YouTube about that all over the place. Welcome. This is our new yall. Welcome back. If you guys haven't seen my first two videos, go and go check those out right now. This is my third video for my channel. So if you guys are returning viewers and you guys have already seen those first two videos, welcome back. I appreciate y'all and y'all's support. Hope y'all are enjoying. If you guys are fresh and brand new, welcome to the channel. Hope you guys enjoy as well. What I want to talk to y'all about today is trucking, right? I'm a truck driver. I just got into the truck driving world. I just joined my company and I'm about to get into my own truck after training. I just finished training and I'm about to start running my own loads in my own truck. So that's where I'm coming from right now. That's my perspective. I don't have years of experience just yet. So if you guys are brand new looking into this and what to expect, this is what I went through brand new. And this is basically what you guys can expect as well for the most part, right? It's different from place to place, but essentially this is what y'all can expect, right? So you guys are probably looking up right now how to get a CDL or how to become a truck driver, right? And what you guys will probably be told and find is you have to obtain your CDL, your Class A license. How do you do that is you can either, one, go through a private company, a private school that teaches you exactly how to get a CDL and how to pass the tests to be able to obtain it. There's a couple different ways that you can do that, right? It's really based off of how much money you're willing to spend because it's going to be coming out of your own pocket. You got to pay for your own schooling if you're going to do it that way and go privately with your own private school. It can vary anywhere between $4,000 to about, I think on the high end, about $8,000 to get your CDL. And essentially, the more you pay, the more you're taught, right? That's basically how it goes for the most part. You can't guarantee that you're going to get amazing, teachings regardless of the pay, I would imagine. But that's not what I did, right? So I'm not speaking on that too much. I just know that that's what people can do and that's an option for you. A lot of people recommend that pathway of going and doing your own school and getting your own CDL yourself because they say that it offers a lot more doors for you after you get your CDL and you get your first job. You don't have to be stuck to one company, the first company that you apply to. You can look around, right? It gives you options. That's what people say. Personally, I kind of disagree with that just because the whole industry operates off of experience. And the whole trucking industry is about experience. So if you want to move up, if you want to do anything about getting more pay or just a better position or a better company or what have you, it's all based off of experience, right? That's the whole industry. So when you're fresh coming out the gate, fresh out of school, you don't have too many options. So you kind of have to just pick one anyway. So that's kind of my thought process on it. With that being said, the other option, which is what I went with, is applying and getting your CDL through a trucking company, right? You can go and get a CDL through a trucking company that offers it, right? Not every trucking company offers it, but you can get your CDL through a trucking company that does, and they'll basically teach you how to get it, just the same as a school. But generally, it's not the greatest education. They just kind of teach you how to pass the test. But essentially, it gets the job done, right? And the biggest thing about it is you don't have to have any sort of upfront cost, right? It's totally free. You just have to cover minor things, maybe food or something like that. But for the most part, it's free. The only thing that comes with that, the major thing that comes with that, is a contract. You have to sign a contract for usually a year, where you are saying that you're going to work with this company after you get your CDL with them for a year, and after that year, and you complete that contract, after that year, it's completely free. The whole schooling thing just drops off. The debt that you owe them for going through their school just drops off after that first year. That's generally what happens and what y'all can expect if you go that route. Like I said, that's what I did, and that's generally what I would recommend to people who are fresh out the gate. Unless you just you're balling with money, money is not an issue. Definitely go to get your own CDL through a private school. Definitely do that. But if you guys are like me, you're kind of struggling financially, maybe you're like younger, right? You don't have a whole lot of money, you don't have too much going on, right? I definitely recommend just going through a company, a mega carrier, one of these top companies for trucking, and just getting your CDL for free. No upfront cost, and just signing that contract and working for that first year with that company, completing it, right? You don't leave, you don't break the contract during that year, you stick it out for that first year. Once you get your Class A license, you get your CDL on hand, you're going to either have graduated from your own private school, or you're already guaranteed a position with your company and you're hired on immediately. If you didn't go the company route, you're going to have to apply around and try to get accepted with one of these other companies. Just like any other job, really. When you guys get through that part, you guys get accepted into a company, or you just land your position, you're going to go ahead and go into orientation, right? Every company is going to do orientation a bit different. But in mine, it was a pretty straightforward, like 1 week orientation, where they sit down and tell you what to expect with the company and everything. Just a general orientation that you can expect pretty much anywhere else. But it generally, at least for me and my company, it lasted a week, about 5 days. And so after that, after you kind of get through all that basic stuff, you give them, your information. A lot of the times, especially with these companies that are similar to the ones that I went with, you're not actually officially hired during the orientation part, if that makes sense. Like, you're still in the interview process. Instead of just doing the traditional, like, in-person or over the phone, like Zoom call or something like that, interviews that you would typically do for a normal job, they bring you into orientation for 5 days or what have you, however long the period is, and they teach you this stuff, and that's your interview. So if you're late to classes, if you can't make it there in the first place, anything like that, you're most likely just not going to get hired. You're going to be sent home. That's basically how they run things around here. So keep that in mind. Don't let things slip. Be professional from the very beginning, right? Be professional. Get your things done. Be on time. Show up, right? That's really what these places expect, especially these bigger mega carriers. It might be different if you go with like a smaller company. Maybe it would be more standardized, more normal, right? But in terms of these mega carrier companies, that's how it's going to be most of the time. So with that being said, once you get through the orientation part, you did all your work, you submitted all your information, you didn't have any issues, you got hired on, right? You got your CDL, you went through the orientation part, they said you're good, and you're hired on. You signed the paperwork, right? Once you're there, you have a job, right? You have a job. Congratulations. You can clap your hands, feel good, you're employed. So at that point, you're all good. at that point, you really just have to sit down and start learning, right? You learned how to get a CDL. You got introduced into the semi world and how semi trucks work, right? As well as, what your company is about, the orientation part. But now is really where you start learning. This is where you have to really sit down and pay attention, because there's going to be a lot of shit thrown at you, like just straight up. Like there's going to be a lot of stuff that you're going to have to learn. You're going to have to learn how to operate the vehicle safely. These are 80,000 pounds of vehicle, of metal, steel, cargo, like engine. Like this is heavy weight. This is a lot of stuff that you're just flying down the road with. You're going 70 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour down the interstate, going state to state to state. If you're staying regional or doing local work or something like that, then you're at least going through a couple states, or you're driving miles. You're driving for miles all day long with 80,000 pounds. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of weight. So they take it very seriously. I do. I recommend everybody does. That's how you're safe, right? So keep that in mind. Take this stuff seriously. Do not kill anybody. Do not kill yourself. Do not make a heavy, hard mistake with your life like that, okay? Take this stuff seriously. Be professional. Be the better truckers. Make the trucking world better for everybody else, okay? Don't be like all the rest of these nasty truckers and stuff. So when you get with your company and you start your training, you're going to be stuck most likely with a trainer. You're going to be in their truck, and you're going to be sitting in there with them for roughly about, it varies from company to company. For me, I was with my trainer for about 2 months, about 6 or 8 weeks. And I went a total of about 35,000 miles. That's what I got officially. I did more than that, but in terms of how many miles they record, because it's based off the trips, right? At least with my company, it's based off the trips and how many miles that the trips have individually, and that's how many miles you get on paper with them to complete your training. Once you get past your training miles, right, you gotta pay attention. Like I said, you gotta learn how to run the truck. Not only do you have to learn about how to run the truck, how to drive it, right? That's probably the most simple part about the job, is learning how to drive the truck. That's the simplest part about it, honestly. Besides that, you have to learn how to run your clock. You have multiple clocks that you have to pay attention to and track and maintain and take care of, because those are regulated by DOT, right? Department of Transportation. Though that is that's the department that's going to pull you over, check your truck, give you inspections, make sure you're running your truck correctly, everything is in proper and is safe. You're transporting things safely across the road. And they're also going to check your logs, your log books, everything like that. They're going to make sure your times are right. Make sure that you are not exceeding your legal driving hours for the week and for the day and everything like that. And so you're going to have your 8, your 11, your 14, and your 70 clock, clocks that you have to manage, as well as, and you have to keep this in mind because it's usually on these devices and stuff, it doesn't show this other than just the regular clock that you have on any device. But since you're going to be going, most people are going to be over the road. So they're going to be going from east to west, north to south, all across America. And so as they go through the country, they're going to go through time zones. And so you have to watch your clock, your normal clock, and pay attention to those time zone changes. Your time is going to go up an hour or two, depending on whether you go east or west. And so keep that in mind as you're watching your clocks, as you're planning your routes, right? And that leads into route planning, right? Not only do you have to manage your clocks, keep track of your time for any sort of time changes as you go through regions and things like that. and making sure you're staying on top of that and staying legal with that. But also, you have to make sure that you're planning your routes right. You don't want to get stuck down a roadway that isn't meant for semi trucks. You don't want to go down a dirt road in the rain. You don't want to go down, a roadway where there's lower clearance than the height of your truck, because then your truck's going to slam into that overpass or whatever it is. You're going to slam right into it. And you can see videos on YouTube about that all over the place. So you really have to make sure that you know where you're going, what your route is, what it looks like. As you drive, you're going to get familiar with the routes, with the roadways, the interstates over time. But essentially, yes, you need to know where you're going. You got to be very careful. You don't want to damage your truck. You don't want to damage your cargo. You don't want to damage any other item out on the roadway. You don't want to hit nobody, and you don't want to kill nobody, right? At the end of the day, you got to be careful. These things are big, these things are heavy, these are semi trucks. So essentially that's pretty much what you can expect. Other than that, it's hygiene. With me and flatbed, if you guys are going into flatbed at all, keep in mind it's going to be kind of difficult staying clean. But overall, truckers are known for having an issue with staying hygienic. So make sure that you guys take showers on the road. Make sure you guys are cleaning yourselves correctly, staying hygienic, keeping care of yourself. You got to move around. You got to stay healthy, work out. You're sitting all day. Just take care of yourselves as y'all move into this trucking world and you begin this journey. Just keep your health a priority, okay? Don't kill yourself over something like this. So yeah, with that in mind, that's basically it. That's all you guys really need to know in terms of how to start this whole journey. You get your CDL, you pass that, you apply for a job or you land your job, and you do your orientation. Once you get your orientation passed and you're officially hired on with your company, then you go through your training period, however long that is. Make sure you learn as much as you can, you stay as safe as possible, and you learn as much about the job as you can during the time that you have it. Because after that, it's all on you. You're in your own truck. You're doing your own thing. You're running your own routes. You're managing your own clocks, your own logs. And if you get pulled over, that's on you. If you hit something, you kill somebody, that's on you. These are legal consequences that you guys have to keep in mind if you're driving a big hunk of metal across the road. So yeah, just keep that in mind, y'all. Be safe, take care of yourselves, and be professional. Just be professional, right? So that's basically it. If you guys have any other questions about trucking, getting into trucking, as I continue on with this journey, you guys will see my experience and what I go through, what I learn. But if you guys have any other questions about what you can expect getting into the trucking world, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section below. And if you guys have any other recommendations on really what you guys want to hear from me, what kind of videos you want me to do, talk about, show you, go ahead and leave those in the comment section down below as well. I'm going to be doing a lot more vlogs as I come into my truck and I start my loads and I start my journey as a truck driver. I'll be doing that here in the next couple days. That's where I'm at. So I'm really interested to see how y'all feel, what you guys think. Yeah, with that being said, once again, I appreciate y'all for watching. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.